Welcome in and happy Tuesday. Tonight I have Christian Paolantonio joining me. How you doing tonight, Christian?
I'm awesome, Matthew. How you doing, man?
Very good. It's been a while since we last spoke, man.
Yeah, it has been. It was a good conversation last time. We got the season kicking off, so I'm excited.
For sure. Any updates your way since we've last chatted? I mean, anything major?
Since last time we talked, I think we talked after I graduated from university, so that was nice. I moved down to Florida for a little bit after that. Got a gig with the Tampa Bay Lightning, doing
That's
some
awesome.
other stuff. Yep, well, I'm not working with the UFL, so that's been a fun time. But now I'm covering Defenders full time, trying to stay on top of that. So that's been fun.
Understood. So, in terms of a location, where are you at right now?
Right now, I'm in Tampa right now. I'll be flying and driving to games. We'll talk about that in a little bit, though.
Yes, sir. For sure. And last time we spoke, I want to say you were up close to DC, correct?
Yeah, I was. I went to school up there near DC, so that's why it was easy for me to get to games. And that's also where I grew up at. So a lot of familiarity with the area and some people up there. So I'm excited to get back up there, though.
Oh, I bet, man. It's a much different climate and landscape than Florida, no doubt.
Totally. Yeah, it's warm. That's 85 down here right now. I got a hoodie on, but I'm a little warm.
Yeah, I'm in Mississippi, which is similar because I'm on the coast. It's definitely not Florida weather, but yeah, definitely different. No doubt about
You get those summers, though.
Oh, no doubt. Right now, winter's been trying to hang on there to the last end.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
So what's been going on, man? I mean, I know you're covering the Defenders. What's your travel plans looking like this year? What do you got going? What do you got planned?
Right. So I won't be at the first game of the season at San Antonio. Missed out on the opportunity to go to the championship last year after getting sick in San Antonio. So I'm hoping to make it out there at some time. But I think the first game I'll be heading to will be back in DC against Houston for the home opener week 2. That's going to be exciting. Have the beer snake going again. Have a couple friends and family going to be coming to the game. So that'll be really exciting. After that, probably going to head to Birmingham week 4. Going to try to do that. After that, though, it's a crapshoot. I'm going to try to hit a couple more DC home games. Going to try to see some playoff games, but honestly, I'm just kind of going to let the schedule play itself out and going to have a good time traveling to games.
Understood. Now, when you go, are you going as a fan or are you going as media?
I'm going as media all the time. Yeah,
Cool.
So I'll get there about 2 or 3 hours early, set up, try and talk to as many people as possible before setting up my laptop and everything in the box.
Sounds good, man. Yep. I'll be gone the first week to Houston and then the second week to the Memphis opener. Right now, I don't have anything concrete planned, but looking to attend maybe Birmingham that 4th or 5th week as well, looking at the schedule.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome to see you out there for that week 4 game, DC, Birmingham.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
It's been a long time since I've been to Birmingham, too, so it'd be good to check everything out,
It would be my first time out there in Alabama.
Never been to Alabama at all, huh?
Nope, never been out there.
Wow. I guess when you're up north, though, that's a long ways from you. You really have to have a reason to come.
Totally, yeah. I'm excited, though. I've heard Alabama's got its spots, too, and good eats down there. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Good people for the most part, as well as what I'm hearing.
Yeah, totally.
Was it Protective Stadium? Looks sweet, too, from pictures, dude.
Yeah, it does. It seems like they've really done a good job with that in Birmingham and putting a lot of funds and resources towards it. And I know Luke's done a really good job. Luke of State of the Stallions,
Luke
covering
Miller.
the stadium. Yeah, he's done a really good job of keeping fans updated on what that stadium's been doing outside of the UFL as well.
Yeah, he does a really good job. He's one of the many different people that are really taking some content and trying to spread it out. The good love, the Lord's work is what I like to call it.
He's awesome. He's a grinder, which I love.
Yes, sir. I mean, y'all's crew that way does pretty good. I have nothing bad to say about anyone in any nature, but you can also notice when individuals are using information for clout when they're actually reporting. And so I'll say that if there's going to be some stuff, I'll look at it. I would read some of you guys' stuff.
I appreciate that. We try to stay credible as possible and, try to double check sources or whatever it is. So I appreciate it.
Yep. I know you got James, so that's a big tool in your corner, and he's always plugged in. So that's a really good one to have.
Yeah, man, James is great. He's always a good guy to lean on to if you ever need information, or he's been great. He's another grinder. James is great.
And that's UFLnewsroom.com is y'all's website, correct?
Yeah, you can find it at UFLnewsroom.com or PFnewsroom.com. Either one's fine.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the defenders a little bit since you cover them. Here in just a bit, we'll get into some final roster conversations and then talk more about the season starting. But as far as the DC defenders, are there updates? Is there any concerns? Or is there anything you just want to present for your team?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, the most important thing is probably Abram Smith, running back Abram Smith, out for the season with a torn left ACL. The XFL's leading rusher from 2023 was a guy that DC leaned on in many games last year, especially early on. Jordan Teamu and Smith really perfected that RPO offense with Fred Keiss, and he's going to be missed. Cameron Harris will be backing him up, or will be starting now for DC, it looks like. At least week one. He'll have Darius Hakins from Virginia State behind him, as well as Puka Williams from Kansas, who's used as more of a scat back, third down running back type of guy. But we'll see how Harris gets on. He looked good last season late when he got added for the playoff run. He had 2 scores against Seattle, so that was impressive. But yeah, it's going to be interesting trying to replace a guy like that. I don't think you really can replace a guy like Abram. But DC's going to have their hands full with it for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's almost in the same regard as losing Ja'Cour Pearson. I mean, that's just a big impact on your team.
Totally agree, yeah. And a lot of guys with the Abram Smith injury have forgotten that Pearson injury a little bit, but I think that Pearson injury is measurable to Smith's injury.
Yeah, no doubt. How's the defense looking for DC this year?
Defense is looking good. They've really revamped the defensive line. The rest of the defense is pretty similar, especially the secondary and the linebacking core. But that defensive line, they kept Davin Bellamy, who was the team's leader in sacks from last season. They also kept Joe Wallace, who was a great nose tackle for DC. But they also added some different guys like Dennis Johnson and a couple other interior defensive linemen to help out. And then on the edge, they added Derek Roberson and then most prominently Trent Harris, who led the XFL in sacks last season.
Trent Harris, that's my dude, man. I hope he does a lot of things that way.
I was expecting him and Tim Ward to be, tag teaming, but it looks like Tim Ward's on his way out now. Going to be in San Antonio. Going to see him week 1, so that'll be fun.
Yep. So we'll get on Tim Ward a little bit. I'll talk about him when we get to some cuts and such. But
to add on to that defensive line too, was a bit of a surprise that Boogie Roberts was cut. I know we'll get to those cuts a little bit, but he was actually kind of that first wave of cuts. So a lot of people didn't see that one coming.
I think there's just so much skill on the board, man. They could really be picky and choosy about what they're doing now. It's not like before where we had 16 teams rolling.
Totally. And it also might depend on what Boogie does so well compared to some other guys on the team and what they're asking their guys to do with the scheme right now.
True. Yeah. Like I've said, and like we've said in past conversations, I had Michael Lathrop on last week, and I mean, we don't know what the rosters are going to be besides your studs, and right. By all means, we know who they are for the most part, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I totally agree with that. Is there any more updates for DC before we roll along?
Yeah, let me see real quick. I also know that Josh Hammond. I don't know if you guys covered the Josh Hammond retirement. Happened a couple weeks ago. That's going to be a big one. Hammond played outside receiver for DC. Also played some special teams as a return man. Did a really good job at it. So Puka's going to be in charge of probably doing that return duties. And we'll see who can replace Josh Hammond because DC's already lost Chris Blair and Lucky Jackson to the NFL. And so they're looking at guys like Kelvin Harmon, Ty Scott, newcomers like that to come in and hopefully fill the shoes of those type of guys.
Yeah, interesting dynamic when I checked the roster, I think last week. You guys had, I think, 4 running backs on the roster, if I remember correctly.
Yep, we did. And then Abram was hurt, so that knocked it to 3. So looks like we're at 3 right now.
Gotcha. Woo-wee. Should be a good season, man. I'm glad that at least you have Teamu coming back, and that should be a leader enough to get that team rolling and doing what they need to do.
Yeah, especially hopefully Teamu can again lean on that RPO offense because he was so good at that last year. He's a threat with his legs, even getting up there in age a little bit as a spring league vet, but he can use his legs and expand the play. So defenses have to realize that and respect that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he's the man. I'll say he's one of my favorites coming into it. I know he doesn't have the best numbers in terms of everything, but I feel like he's got a lot of experience and he can lead that team.
Oh yeah, definitely great leadership skills. Awesome guy off the field. I enjoy Town as well.
Yeah, very humble.
Yeah, definitely.
DeMarcus said, I hope Cameron Harris can fill the gap.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a big gap to fill. He looked good last year. He's a bigger guy. He does some things different from Smith. Smith can probably receive a little better than Harris can, which is probably a big reason why they kept Puka on the team, honestly.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Harris should do a good job in RB1.
Understood. Let's look at some more comments. XFL Mike G coming in. Hey guys, what's up? XFL Mike G. Got the Brahma Bulletin. Howdy all. What's up, Brahma Bulletin? And William Burton, he tapped into our first conversation. He said, hello guys, y'all come on down and giddy up Stallions. We have a lot of good people and food, not to mention a great UFL football team.
Yeah, man, Stallions are going to be an interesting team to watch. Lots of expectations after two-time champs in the USFL.
Yep. I'm curious to see who all does show up down there, honestly. I hope they show up and show out for their team.
I really do too. Yeah.
So in terms of that, I mean, we got the final rosters that dropped a couple days ago. And we know that, I don't know, there were some big names on here that I thought and I expected to see. But then when I actually sat down and looked at some of this stuff, I realized there's so many good players on these rosters. There's so many. And the names I recognize the most are the ones that I kept up with last year for the most part. But I'm sure everybody can find some fan favorite that did get cut in this recent round of cuts.
Yeah, especially if you're looking at guys from even DC, some of the guys that returned from 2023 that were cut, like Jazz Ferguson, who didn't play a ton of offense last year, only had one catch, but a ton of special teams work. And I thought that might get him into the team, but it doesn't. Also, Kentrell Bryce, a safety, who played a ton of snaps for DC last season, was a starter for the majority of the year. He's out. So, yeah, some tough cuts to see.
Yeah, no doubt. When I saw Lord have mercy, DeAndre White, when I saw that he was cut, I was kind of surprised because watching this guy last year play in his highlights before that, even, I mean, he's a baller. So they must have been pretty confident in that and who they have on the roster.
Yeah, I think that familiarity with Darius Higgins from Barlow's time at Virginia State really helps him out too.
Yes, sir. Agreed. And then another one. Now, what I have pulled up here is this is from UFL Board. This is an article by Greg Parks. He just went through and he picked out the teams and he picked out some notable cuts, surprising cuts, and surprising keeps. And right here, Tim Ward is on his list, and I agree with this. This is pretty surprising. With Ward and Harris together, we saw a pretty unstoppable defense at certain degrees. So I was really surprised when DC didn't keep him. It made me wonder, maybe injuries? Who knows? What do you think?
Yeah, Tim Ward actually signed his UFL contract pretty late into training camp and actually arrived late to training camp as well. So I think that had a lot to do with him not really gelling as quickly with the team as some other guys did, and ended up being the odd man out because of that.
Yep. He had 22 tackles last season total with 5 sacks. So not bad.
Oh, yeah. Those are impressive numbers for a limited time, it sounds like.
Yes, sir. And they had a lot of different guys on that front last year. And the front four were plentiful there in Houston.
Oh, yeah.
So oh man, I'm messing this up bad. Zaquandre White. Last year for the Stallions, he had 29 attempts for 128 yards and he had 2 TDs. Personally, I didn't watch too much USFL ball. I mean, do you got any kind of opinion of that guy and how he did?
I didn't watch a ton of USFL ball either. Doing a write-up on White, I thought he brought a little more versatility to the backs room than some of the other guys did, like Higgins. But maybe they bring White back in the future as a guy if some of these other guys don't work out in the backfield. I think White, he was out there late in training camp, so I would expect him to be there again if they're looking for a running back.
Yeah, agreed. I figure we'll see his name somewhere during the season at some degree. And somebody's going to need him.
Yeah, I agree. So many good players are cut from this group. It's so hard to find, teams for them. But I think a lot of these guys will land on their feet here.
Agreed with that, man. It's just we don't really know the landscapes just because we don't even have our starting rosters yet. We don't know
Right.
who's going to be the first 11 on each side of the ball. So next up, we got the Battlehawks. I thought this was pretty notable. You had Kevin Akins, really big player last year for the Battlehawks. That name came up a lot, and he actually signed to the Giants, if I remember correctly, following the XFL season last year. He had 14 total tackles and 1 sack. So looking at his stats, he didn't do too much, but I know I heard this name quite a bit last year. What do you think of Kevin Akins? You done any research on him?
Yeah, Kevin, when we played against St. Louis, he came up a lot in the run game. I think that's probably why we're not seeing a ton of his stats pop up, because he's a huge run stuffer. He's a huge guy as well. I am surprised to not see him coming back. I know St. Louis bulked up on the defensive line as well with a few names, so I'm not sure if he ended up being the odd man out or if it was something else. But Kevin Atkins, he should be a guy that some other teams are looking at for sure to plug up holes in the middle.
Yeah. I know, from my opinion, looking at the Battlehawks, they have a pretty good squad, on paper at least. They've got a lot of positions they filled and a lot of backup in those positions. So I'm excited to see this team take the field, even without Ja'Cour Pearson.
Yeah, I agree. I think the receiving core might be the best without Ja'Cour Pearson. Even it might be one of the better receiving cores in the UFL right now.
For sure.
I think a guy like Stephen Mitchell being cut is a little surprising as well, just because he brought some special teams help and he was a quicker guy for them. So interesting to see if he lands anywhere.
Yeah, right now they have 7 receivers on roster.
Yeah, I thought DC might keep 7 too.
How many did you guys end up keeping?
I think we kept 6. Yeah.
Yeah, when I first started looking, that's what I knew they were going to have to make some kind of decision in St. Louis on the receiver ground, because you had a lot of hands there.
Yeah, there's one of the names right there too for the defensive tackles, Austin Fialu. I think he was one of the guys. He should be a guy that really plays a lot for St. Louis this year.
Yeah, that's another name you heard a lot. I mean, numerous times I remember. I mean, because I specifically had to go look up how to say it.
Yeah, those Polynesian names, Hawaiian names, those are tough.
I try my best, but I don't want to butcher it on air.
Totally. Yeah, imagine the commentators. I bet they're always looking up those names.
Oh, no doubt. You got to. Yeah. Good thing there's YouTube now.
I know. Seriously.
Before, I've got a couple more other names to add, but did you have any surprising cuts you wanted to talk about?
For St. Louis, I think Stephen Mitchell and Atkins were the ones that stood out the most. Yeah, probably those two.
Cool. No problem. Just wanted to check in. Lastly, and this is another one that I thought was pretty significant. I got to swap over to the other page. There we go. Manny Bunch. Now, this was a big one, I felt. All USFL player last year. Definitely walked the walk and talked the talk. Notched an interception, 2 sacks, and 54 tackles last year with the Gamblers. He was cut recently, but man, what do you think? He's going to end up somewhere? I feel like he is definitely a name we're going to see. There's no way a team can be without this guy in some degrees.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're in a spot right now with teams where, we're 1 week before the game starts. So they want to see these guys they've been working on for a month on the field for week 1, see what they can do. I think they owe it to them a little bit too.
Yep.
And then after that week 1 game, get a baseline understanding and maybe bring some guys in for workouts.
Yeah. And like I keep noting over and over, it's like these teams are probably going to look different halfway in. Once week 10 hits, we're going to be looking at a lot of different things along the way.
Yeah, injuries especially, man. Those killer.
Injuries and just offensive cohesion. I mean, they haven't been together that long. What we're talking like 4 to 6 weeks or something is what they've been practicing.
Especially a team like the Roughnecks, where they're moving a lot of guys around, this is another Gambler that's been cut, so this only hinders their guys coming in from the last regime.
Yep. And we'll talk about their roster a little bit more once we get into the matchup discussion. But yeah, man, that's all the cuts I wanted to note. And I didn't want to spend 2 hours on this because we definitely could.
Totally, yeah.
Those articles are from UFL board, guys at home or girls. I'll post the link to that in the show notes like I always do, so you can check it out. It's a really good article by Greg Parks, and it kind of just breaks things down. Even if you don't agree with what he says is a surprising cut, you can still kind of get a good breakdown of positioning and such for each team without having to do the research yourself.
Yeah, I think Greg Parks is a great writer. I always read his stuff too.
Oh, yeah, he's solid. I know before I go looking up information, I always try to make sure that it hasn't already been done. There's no point in recreating the wheel here.
Totally. And he also does some stuff with pro wrestling, which I enjoy too. I look at some of that stuff. So
I think that's his passion, really. I think that's his number one.
Seems like it, yeah. He does a good job of it.
Agreed. Good guy to talk to as well. He's so informed, man. You can talk all day with him.
Yeah, I look forward to hopefully meeting him sometime soon. Maybe I'll see him at a DC game or something.
That'd be awesome. I know I was supposed to see you last year at the championship, man, and you got sick on me.
Oh, dude, that was rough. That was the worst. I'm hoping to make it back to St. Louis this year for the championship game. Maybe some redemption. I feel like I got to make it there.
Yeah, I'll try my best to make it as well. We'll see how busy it is. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, June could be a tricky month to make it out there too.
Yep. It's summertime, man. Everybody's doing things with their fam and vacationing, whatever.
Yeah, compared to last year's schedule for us, at least with the XFL, when it was like getting close to this time, we're getting close to the end of the regular season, ramping up for playoffs. So
yep, we still had springtime rolling.
Yep.
All right, so I kind of skipped around a little bit from what we had on the show notes. So let's hop back on our next subject and let's talk about the NFL adopting the XFL style kick. Now, I don't know, it's dicey. But it's dicey only because now with the UFL, we're doing a standard kickoff return, somewhat similar to what the NFL used to. Now the NFL is taking the XFL style kickoff return and is applying it in their own style to their league. So I got a little video I'm going to play, guys, at home, and check it out. You can kind of get an idea what's going on without me having to tell you everything, and they can tell you what it means for the NFL. All right, let me get it up. It's Dean Blandino as well. It's not just some rando talking.
Alrighty, Arimarov here, joined by Dean Blandino.
Can you hear that,
a lot
Christian?
to talk about Dean.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Kickoffs because it's going to look very different in 2024. And the league sent out this 17-page booklet about what it's going to be. Let me just ask you, how would you simplify what the approved proposal is and why the NFL do this now?
This has been a long time coming, and it is a drastic change. And you think about how this has evolved. You look at the kick return, higher rate of injury, a lot of concerns about concussions, head and neck injuries. And so what the competition committee's approach has been is to reduce the number of returns. And the play last year, 22% of all kicks were returned. That was an historic low, and it became a non-play. No greater example than in the Super Bowl with 12 kickoffs, and I think 11 of them went through the end zone, not one return. So just to break it down very simply, this is a version of what the XFL was using, where you're trying to reduce the space and the speed of the players, right? Traditional kickoff, you've got a long run up, you're running 40, 50 yards. There's more collisions, there's more high speed impact. Now this moves everyone except the kicker on the kicking team over to the return team side of the field. So the kicking team will be on the return team's 40. Then there'll be 5 yards from there will be the restraining line for the return team. There'll be a 5-yard belt, and you'll have at least 9 players in that belt. So you're bringing the players closer together, which should decrease that speed and those high impact collisions, which is the goal. And it will increase returns because there are rules in place to basically incentivize the kickers not to put it through the end zone, because you're going to give your opponent better field position, and for the returner to get on the ball if it hits in the field of play and to return it. So I think this will accomplish a couple of things. We'll have more returns certainly than we've had in the past, and I think it will be from a speed and spacing perspective a safer play.
All right, so you heard the man. Basically, they're attacking this thing on the the means of player safety. And it makes sense, I guess, but they also, I think, want to increase the offense here. They're not getting enough points scored yearly, so they're looking to do a little more output. What's your opinion on this, Christian?
I like it. I think it's a good idea for the NFL. I wish that the UFL would have kept the XFL kickoff going into this season. It would have made it a little less, I guess just weird that we haven't done that yet. But hopefully next season they decide to make that transition. For the NFL, I think it's good because we'll get more kickoff returns. Honestly, we'll get more kickoff returns, and kickoff returns are exciting plays. So yeah. I'm excited for it. I think it's a good decision by the NFL. And like I said, hopefully UFL readopts it in a couple seasons or next season.
Yeah, I mean it's just kind of funny how it all works out now. I mean we've flip-flopped.
Yeah, right.
The innovation that they really hit on last year has now become the normal kickoff, and I mean I'm fine either way. My preference is just football. So I mean that's the way I feel about it. But there's a lot of homers that are upset on both ends of the spectrum. And I think the biggest thing for me personally is knowing that this is an XFL innovation and that we won't see the UFL, which is the XFL, use this innovation in real play this year. That's the biggest thing for me. I mean, think right now, if they say, hey, tune in this week to see the new kickoff, boom, ratings out this world. People are going to watch that. They want to know what's changing. Especially since they've outlawed the hip drop tackle. That's NFL, not XFL, guys. If you're listening, don't get it confused, okay?
Yeah, that hip drop tackle. I didn't really agree with that one too much. That's a tough one to get around to.
Yeah, I think we're going to be looking at a different sport in the NFL in a couple of years, if not next year. It's going to be a different landscape.
Yeah, another thing with that kickoff too, the surprise onside kick being gone. That's one thing I know a lot of people are upset about.
So did they go forward with that, or are they doing that next year?
I can't put a for sure answer on that. I thought it was this season, but I might be wrong about that. But if it's coming either way, some people aren't very happy with that, I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't have enough time to research it enough because I try to stick to what we're doing, with UFL.
Right.
But I've seen it bounce back and forth. I saw something, the same guy, Ari, he has a bunch of clips he's posted where he's discussing this with Dean. And I believe they talk about implementing that next year. But the only thing about it that they really had an issue was the fact that when you do that, you're automatically dead set. You're kicking. There's no surprise. It's
right.
The other team knows, hey, they're doing a kick. And so that's kind of the issue right now. But I don't know personally. I've kind of unplugged.
Which is why the XFL had a good thing last year with the 2, 1, 2, and 3-point conversions, because it kind of sometimes would knock away the point of doing an onside kick.
Yeah, agreed. It was all thought out well, in my opinion. It wasn't like it was just, hey, let's do this and roll on.
Yeah, agreed.
Guys at home, how you feeling? Let's see what we're saying in the comments. Rama Bulletin said, I bet the USFL fanboys are losing their minds right now.
Yeah, the USFL fans, they weren't fans of those XFL kickoffs when the merger happened.
No comment. I'm going to slide through this conversation right there. William, he said, sounds like NASCAR to me. When will they put dresses on them? Too many rules. It's a dumb looking play. Yeah, he said, let them play ball.
I can see that argument too. I know the UFL wanted to bring the NFL kickoff, which was the NFL kickoff, to the UFL because they wanted to have that side-by-side comparison for special teamers, and for gunners specifically. Gunners are very, very valuable in the NFL special teams. So seeing those for the UFL, I thought that was going to be an important thing. But things change.
Yeah, I mean, we should see some scores, if not good positioning from this return, no doubt. It should make some exciting play because, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I watch an NFL game, I usually expect them to kick it through the uprights.
Usually going to the bathroom or getting some snacks when they're kicking off nowadays because it's not going to be an exciting play.
Yep, every time.
Yeah.
My only thing with all this, I'm glad that this is happening, but my only thing in all this is, man, I wish we could show it off with our spring league now.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
But I'll be curious to see what comes of everything. And the innovation has caught hold like it has many times. There's many things that the NFL has taken from our spring leagues over the years. You know, we have one come up and then they take a few aspects of that and apply it to their league. And that's smart. It's smart business.
Yeah. And that's why these leagues are so important. And hopefully someday we'll have some kind of coalition and, you know, things won't be as nitpicky with, you know, taking things from different leagues, and it'll be more conformed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's guys at home. I mean, what's your opinion? What do you feel this is for safety reasons with the NFL? And I'm curious too. I mean, what's Daryl Johnson saying now about this kickoff return? Now that it's switched for the NFL, I mean, I don't know. Only thing that I will say is I'm also glad that the UFL will have its own identity. I personally did not want it to be NFL Junior or NFL Blues Clues, whatever. I want it to be its own thing. So I don't know. It's a catch-22.
Yeah, I would hope they wouldn't adopt these recent rule changes either, especially the hip drop tackle. I would hope they would try to keep it their own type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to get more people out, and people aren't going to be watching if we're discussing rules, good or bad, the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just wanted to hit on that. It's pretty impactful, and we'll see that next fall a lot.
And I bet we'll hear it on the announcements a lot too during the games with the commentators. So.
Oh yeah. I love too in the video how they shown the XFL teams demonstrating. that was one of my favorite parts.
Right.
Let's see. Got a comment from Mike G. He said, "I've always said the XFL style kickoff makes the play safer and makes the play relevant again."
Totally agree with making it relevant again.
We will see what happens. So I don't think anybody will complain with our UFL return style or kickoff style, but I don't know. There's always people that gripe, bitch and moan about everything.
Yeah, there's going to be conversations about it for sure.
So anything else before we move on from this?
Pertaining to the kickoff, no. I think right now, it's a good move for the NFL, and yeah, hopefully the UFL readopts it sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Agreed on that. I wanted to note, and this isn't in the show notes, and we'll just review it very quickly. UFL today, they're starting a show for, to catch everyone up after the games. And guys at home, I'm going to try to pull it up real quick. Let me see if I can find it. It's got Daniel Dopp and Scooby in it, so it'll be pretty good. But it only premieres on YouTube and Facebook is what I saw. So let me find it. I don't have it pulled up. Okay, here it is. So UFL today, I'm guessing that will start this Sunday. Check it out on YouTube and Facebook. It's going to be an after the games show. I'm sure they'll talk about highlights, break down some games, but we saw something similar last year with XFL. It wasn't the exact same, but very similar. I do appreciate the fact that they are going to give some kind of professional breakdown of what's going on and not just kicking us to the curb after game time.
Yeah, I think these post-game shows are great. I think it would be great to have some guys on after the games too on these type of shows. Maybe some players talk about the games. Maybe some press conference highlights, things like that would be cool. But yeah, I think things like this are great. It would be awesome if it was actually on ESPN right after the games or Fox. But either way, the exposure is a good thing for the league.
Yes, sir. Agreed. Daniel Dopp does like the fantasy ESPN stuff. If you guys at home aren't familiar, and he's pretty good. I mean. And we all know Scooby. If you don't know Scooby, I don't know what to tell you.
He's been right by the XFL side the whole time.
Yep, exactly. Nothing new there. So, yeah, wanted to share that quickly, man. Sorry, get off topic.
No, I think that's important, too, because I don't know if a lot of people knew about that. I know it took me a couple of days to actually hear about that news. So,
yeah, it's kind of like something drops and gets buried in so much stuff. You got to wait until you find the next piece of information.
Yeah, and I know these UFL organizations and all the employees there are grinding right now to try and get ready for week 1. So I don't blame them for missing things like that. I think it makes it a little more fun for guys like us too.
Yep. I know, just to get the approval going for this week's game, it took a lot of contact and finally got it. But it's not because I wasn't approved. It's just because they have a lot going on right now.
Yeah, a lot of hoops you got to jump through.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Couldn't get a season pass this year, and which surprised me. Have to apply game by game. Yeah, last year it happened to me, and then they're like, "Okay, you're cool. Here's your season." But so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So is it a new guy there, or is it the same guy?
No, it's a girl. It's Brittany Rader in Houston.
Okay, got it.
She's just busy. Like I said, there's no telling how many people contact her a day.
Yeah, I feel the same about my guy in DC, DeAndre Phillips. He's great, but I just can't imagine how many guys are hitting him up every day.
Yep. I'll try not to take none of that personal. It's just when it's all coming out of your own pocket, it changes your tune a little bit.
Right.
We should see some good people in the media this year. That's probably one of the most things I'm excited for, is being able to go to these games again, shake some hands, meet some people. A lot of the networking and stuff I've done this past year, I mean, it's hugely from going to those games and attending.
Yeah, I've met some important people and some people I really enjoyed meeting with, like Pat Ruffino, and
I'd like to meet him.
Who else? I met a couple other guys at the DC game. So yeah, it's a really good opportunity, especially when you're up there in the media box, just conversating before games.
It's your people, man.
Especially guys that are coming in there that cover the NFL and professional leagues. Getting to bounce ideas off of them, or even communicate with those guys is really important.
Oh yeah, the agents and such. Everyone up there, they got a different piece of the pie, and it's surprising too sometimes when you meet these folks and you're like, "Oh, you're so and so. I did not know that. Right. Nice to meet you, sir."
And then just getting their contact or whatever it is, just networking with them. That's important.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's move into a little bit of talks about the upcoming games. So our season begins Saturday. Ready to go on my end. I know you're ready to go on your end. We've been waiting over a year now for our football to kick back up.
Yeah, I'm ready for this Sunday's game. I think it's a noon kickoff for the Brahmas. I'm ready for it, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, sir. So we'll have the first game is the Birmingham Stallions at Arlington Renegades. That game is at 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, and it is on Fox. So with that, we have our 2 starting quarterbacks named at least for this game. We'll have we'll have 1 starting quarterback for this game. That's Luis Perez. And then for the Birmingham Stallions, we've got a threefold approach. We're still waiting to find out who's going to start there. That's Jamar Smith, Matt Corral, or Adrian Martinez. I mean, it's dicey there. I'm not going to say who's going to start for them, but I think I got an idea.
Right. Yeah. If you take into account Jamar Smith coming back, you would think him, but Matt Corral is probably the most talented quarterback in that room, really. So I would expect Matt Corral, in my opinion, but it could change. I mean, I think James tweeted out today with Holt's interview, dual quarterback system is not off the table. So I think a lot of the teams in this league could see that dual quarterback system come into play.
Oh yeah,
starting with Birmingham on Saturday.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, these teams that aren't naming a QB, I don't truly believe it's a strategy. There's a reason they're doing that.
Right. Yeah. Letting these guys compete until the last minute. I don't think it's a bad idea at all either. I think, 3 weeks is not a lot of time at all for training camp, on field action, especially. So giving these guys up until Wednesday or Thursday before the games, I don't think it's going to hurt them a ton.
No. And, we may see a change of almost close to DC, how they were last year. We may see something similar.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
So, yeah, guys, like I said, that game's at 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's on Fox. That's the opening game of the season.
You think Arlington packs the house for that one?
It's tough because they have 2 events going on, from what I understand, or 1 big event going on. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Interesting enough, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen that season ticket members right now are being sent an email stating, hey, here's a code. We'll give you a code for free tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So we have I'm hoping that helps because I know they also did a buy one, get one, if I remember correctly.
And then I also saw a veterans ticket giveaway. I think the Roughnecks might have been doing, or a team, was it a team down in Texas, maybe the Roughnecks?
I'm not sure, dude.
Those kind of promotions, those are important too. I know the UFL has done a really good job of prioritizing first responders and a lot of those type of things. So it's been a good thing to see.
Yeah, for sure. Give some people a reason to come out. When you give them a ticket for free, you may make lifelong fans. You never know.
Totally, yeah.
Next game, gotta find it again. Sorry, I lost it. St. Louis Battlehawks at Michigan Panthers. That game's at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, and it's on Fox as well. We'll have AJ McCarron taking on, let's see, another threefold. We're not sure who's starting here. Denny Etting, Brian Lurkey, and EJ Perry. So those are the three quarterbacks that may be starting for Michigan. Personally, I don't know much about most of these guys, but I did look up a lot of stuff about Brian Lurkey before we started. And he's got some legs on him, surprisingly. So I was very surprised about that.
He's got really good size on him, too, for a quarterback. I know he was cut a little bit before or during the training camp time. I know he's re-added recently again. So I think Etling and Perry are the two guys going for QB1 right now.
Gotcha.
Like with Birmingham, we could see another dual quarterback situation if they're not sure and they want to see both on the field. We could see something like that. But I think that Michigan starts Etling week 1. That's just my opinion. That's just a guess. But I think Etling would be the better start week 1, especially since you have all this film on Perry from before. I think Etling should get a shot.
And we already know about McCarron. I think he speaks for himself 100%. You don't have to say much to hype that man up.
Oh yeah, he's all about the UFL too, which I love. He was just in an interview, I think today or yesterday, talking about how he would even be a head coach if Coach Beck decided to step down sometime for the Battlehawks, which I thought was awesome. So he's an awesome dude.
So that's my spot. I reserve it.
Right.
That's funny. Anything else about this game before we move on?
I expect the Battlehawks to win this one.
I'm going to stay neutral in public for now. We're going to do some picks with our group, our team, but right now I'm not going to call any wins because I want to see these teams play. I really want to see what's going to happen.
I think we're definitely going to see some surprises, so I might be totally wrong with that, so we'll see.
The Battlehawks are a big name this year, and they're going to have to live up to the hype with that championship taking place in their arena.
Could you imagine, though, if St. Louis was able to bring the championship or St. Louis was able to be in the championship in St. Louis? That would just be something crazy.
Oh, dude, it'd be nuts. It'd be insane.
They probably get at least 45,000 people there, maybe even more.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. We'll see what they open up with, but I know they're talking about it being much bigger than last year's opening attendance.
Yeah, the place is going to be packed. I can't wait to hopefully return there this season, and those fans they're awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get to go last year, and I'll try to go for the championship this year. Really, to be honest with you, I wanted to hit up DC, man, but I just can't make it work with all the travel.
And you said you're in Mississippi, right?
Yeah, all the way on the coast, all the way down.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that could be tricky.
Yeah, it's a long ways away from me.
Yep.
I try to stick to where I'm close to. That way I'm not putting myself out. With having the show, you really got to plan ahead because that traveling will gas you out for days after.
Yeah, especially if you're doing something where you're doing a podcast, you got to speak for a living or something like that. So,
yep, for sure.
I understand.
Next up, we got the DC Defenders at San Antonio Brahmas. That game starts at 11 a.m. Oh, let me change this real quick. That should be a.m. We definitely don't want people showing up p.m. They'll be pissed. All right, there we go. 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern. That game's on ESPN. So the Defenders versus the Brahmas, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, and it takes place on ESPN. Now, this is an early start game, so I'm curious to see how the numbers are. I know the Brahma fans are pumped for the start of the season, but a lot of folks are going to be at home with the family or at church or doing things. So we'll see what plays out.
Yeah, especially on Easter Sunday, those noon kickoffs, a little risky. DC has a lot of noon kickoffs this year, especially at home. So I know the fans will show up. It'll be interesting to see the ratings on TV. Pertaining to this game, though, I think DC and San Antonio, I think this is going to be one of the better games of the week.
Definitely.
San Antonio is coming in super underrated. I think they got the longest odds right now to make the championship or win the championship, which I think is kind of nuts, especially when you have a coaching staff with Wade Phillips and AJ Smith.
Exactly.
So you got what was it? Garbers is going to be starting week 1 too.
Garbers. Yep.
Yeah, he's got some experience with different NFL camps. I think he was with the Raiders. So I think Wade Phillips, he's a super experienced coach. Had a couple seasons with the Roughnecks. Did a good job with them. AJ Smith, I thought he might take the reins into a head coaching position this season. Maybe we wait a little bit on that, but I think San Antonio is going to be a tough test week 1 for DC.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree with that. And then not only, with the hype around them being the last, I mean, they got destroying on that field kicking. I feel like that's going to bring some more eyes to that game, either way we look at it. And I know people don't like that look, but that's the truth. And that's good for us as a league.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to see destroying. I think it's going to be fun to see the interactions on the field with destroying. I want to see if any players, get in his ear a little bit after plays or just try to chat him up a little bit because he is a social media star playing in a professional football league with professional football players that have played in the NFL, played in different leagues like that. So they've got egos too, and I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be fun to see.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And, Teamu is going to lead that charge with Reggie Barlow coaching them up. It'll be a good game. I'm ready to see this DC identity in total and see what they're offering in this package.
Right, especially without Abram Smith. Are they going to continue to lean on that run and the RPO, or are they going to try to switch things up? Kais is inventive, but his bread and butter last season was that RPO. So
yes,
see if it works.
Yes, sir. Who's your money on here?
I got DC. I'll give you a little score prediction. So I'll give you 22-19 DC. I think it's going to be a super close game throughout. I think it's going to be tight.
I like it. Let me hop in the comments real quick. KJ Disciple will probably have the lowest viewership of the weekend because of that time. I don't doubt it.
Yeah. DC's got, we got a big market, but that time is rough for Easter Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the holiday. It is what it is, I guess. But I don't know. The early games, they're hard to go to as well. Getting started early stuff,
especially if you're traveling to the game already. Yeah, those can be tough, man.
And Brahma Bulletin said, I prefer that the Brahmas are ignored. We'll make it sweeter when we raise that trophy at the end of the year. I like it.
It's possible.
I thought about dropping a couple hundos on the Brahmas just in case.
I thought about it too, man. I saw that 1,300 or 1,400 line. I was like, gee, that's insane. For a Wade Phillips, AJ Smith led team, I think that's a little wild.
Yeah, and after week 1 that all that stuff's going to be shaken up completely different.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game on Sunday.
That's what we got to note. It's important that we still don't have the starting roster. We don't know who number ones are.
Right. And with DC, it gets a little easier just because you have a lot of guys returning, but still, there's a lot of uncertainty there.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of watching, we honestly, we don't need that information. But in terms of betting or fantasy or analyzation, you do need those names. You do need to know who's there. So I'm with you on that. If you're just watching casually, I mean, you can show up and watch and it's all good. But fantasy aspects, it kind of kills daily fantasy. It makes it where you can't really participate.
Yeah, I think we'll have a lot of answers after this week, I think, for all 8 teams.
Agreed. I hope that we get a regular roster updates, much like the NFL throughout the season. Last year for the XFL, there was a lot of times where you didn't know a guy was injured until the day before or the day of the game, and they told you. So hoping we actually get some updates and we can keep up with it easily.
Yeah, injury updates and depth charts, those will be much appreciated if we can get those for sure.
Yes, sir. Agreed. So the last matchup is the Memphis Showboats at Houston Roughnecks. I'll be at this game. It starts at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and it's on ESPN. with the Showboats, they're saying they still don't know who their starting QB is. I'm gonna bet it's Case Cookus. I'm just gonna say it's got to be Case Cookus.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I think it's Cookus too.
And then for Houston, we have Jarrett Garantano. Now, I did a lot of research on Jarrett, and I'm curious to see how his skills have unfolded since he's last played, because it's going to be quite a dicey battle for them if things kind of went how they did in Tennessee for him.
Yeah, I'm a bit unfamiliar with him. What's his athletic background like? Is he able to scramble a little bit?
He can run. He's got a really good arm, but the accuracy is just iffy. It really is. His decision making isn't the best. His reads.
I thought it was an interesting decision by Curtis Johnson when he decided to start him, just because he had a guy like Fournette in there who I think was with Cincinnati's practice squad. I think even this past season or tried out for Cincinnati, something like that. So he was given some shots, but Curtis Johnson decided to go with the younger guy, I think, and roll him out there. We'll see.
Yes, sir.
What did you think? Did you think that Garantano was the guy for the job, or?
Honestly, I'm trying not to keep up with the team exclusively as much this year, but when I started researching keeping up with the Roughnecks, I kind of questioned what was going on with the draft. It seems they went very skill heavy in terms of running back, and that's you need more than that.
Right.
And then there's reports that Mark Thompson has hurt his knee. That's what I've heard. Yeah. But is that legitimate? I'm not sure if it is or not.
I'm not sure if it's a day-to-day type of thing or if it's I think it's a day-to-day type of thing. It doesn't sound like he's in serious trouble of missing week 1, but like we don't have these daily media sessions, so we're not 100% sure really.
Yeah, they've had some sessions throughout the week, but the last one last week, it was just at times I couldn't make it. Same things with this week. They've done a good job of doing those, but it's just at odd times that personally I cannot make.
Yeah, they similar thing with DC. It's just different times, Luckily, you're they do a really good job with requests too. If one-on-one requests, if we can do that. But I think the daily media sessions are really valuable, especially for media, just because we're getting that information about injuries and stuff on a daily basis instead of having to learn about it through the grapevines.
Yes, sir. Agreed on that. So once again, Showboats at Roughnecks. Game starts at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern, and it's on ESPN. You'll have to check, guys, locally what ESPN is for you because I don't know. Same thing with Fox. It's all going to depend on where you're at. So it should be much easier to find this year than last year, in my opinion, though. And that goes for XFL.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Even though with the XFL had some good networks last year, it was a little tricky to find some games.
Yeah, because we just flip-flop networks so much or apps or whatever. It was very taxing to keep up at times where I was trying to tell people, hey, watch this, and I tell them, and then they look, and it wasn't there, and then they kind of give up.
Yeah, right.
I want to note, too, that they've done some updating to the rosters page on the UFL website, and it looks a lot better. So I was talking about this last week on the show. Whoever did this, good stuff. Let's go to Defenders. So we got an actual list. Before we had just names that you had to scroll through and one by one. It wasn't very easy to view. Now you can search and look. Much easier to look. Much, much easier.
Yeah, I like this a lot. You get the numbers, positions, height, weight. That's perfect.
Yep. So guys at home, I'll include this in the notes. Check it out. It's just on the UFL.com, and it's the rosters page for each team. While we're here, I want to note Enrique Yeni made it to the roster, man. I don't believe he's made it to DC yet. I think he's still in Mexico, though.
I think that's the case as well. I wish they made it a little easier to tell who was on the reserve list and the injured. Yep. I think they'll probably do that eventually. I think it's a process. But, yeah, seeing Enrique's name on there was a little surprising just because we hadn't seen him at camp yet. But I think it's awesome because he deserves a shot to compete. And McCrane had a really good season last year for DC, but I think a competition doesn't hurt,
Yeah, agreed on that. And Enrique, if I keep up with him on social media every day, he's practicing every single day. He's waiting for this opportunity. And when he gets there, I promise he'll be ready.
Yeah, man, he's got a leg on him too, so I'm excited.
Good guy too, man. He's the kind of guy you want on your team. Very uplifting, passionate. I
can see him being a fan favorite if he makes it to DC.
For sure.
Yeah.
Getting to know him has been a pleasure, for real. I found out things about Mexico I never knew.
I believe it.
But yeah, guys, so that's the games. If you're listening, I tried to make it where you could follow that pretty easily. Give them a shot. Don't forget, we're starting up this week. We'll need the numbers. Watch the games. Post your opinions. Do something to interact. Should be a good time, man. UFL 2024, here we come.
Yes, sir. I'm excited, man.
Me as well. It's been a long time coming. And then this is another thing I told people is the 30th is actually my birthday. So it's pretty neat now. It's all worked
that's
out.
going to be awesome, man. That's going to be a great weekend for you, dude.
Yeah, dude. Plan on being in Houston for that Saturday, hitting up their event they're having. They're having some kind of fan event. And then
is that a meet and greet or is that just a fan event?
I believe it is a meet and greet, but I'll tell you what, while we're on here, let's pull it up.
Okay. Because I know there were some scheduling issues for DC this week if they were doing a meet and greet or not. I'm not sure if that's just a home thing that the teams do or not. So.
I got it. I just seen it. There we go, right here. So I'm on UFL board. They posted it. I use UFL board a lot, and I have my own website now. But I don't know. I feel like with the partnership stuff, it's good to
totally
do other things. So Saturday, March 30th, the Roughnecks will host an afternoon pep rally at Ducky McSweeney's pub located in the heart of the Galleria area, which will include a meet and greet with Roughneck players and coaches, photo opportunities, and special giveaways.
That's exactly what this league needs is things like that going on week in, week out, just getting the fans involved, letting them know what's going on. I love things like this.
I agree with you. Last year, I know in Houston, I saw this stuff, but most of the time I wouldn't be notified until the day of that event or the day prior, like the night prior in the evening.
Right.
Being out of town, I can't really plan on doing anything last minute. Everything I do has to be, scheduled.
Or even finding someone to cover that event or, take pics for that event. It's hard.
Exactly.
Yeah. So these heads up are very appreciated too.
Yep. I'll include this in the show notes as well, guys. This is it's Houston Roughnecks H-Town Proud Week of activities is what they're calling it. I'm glad they're doing it though. So, Christian, that about wraps up the show. We haven't had too many comments tonight. Usually they're going crazy in here. We hit a lot of subjects I figured people would have some.
Yeah, I got on a little late too, so might have been that.
Yeah, usually I go at 7:30. I'm even kind of tired. I felt it. But hey, I had another show Sunday at 8:30, so it worked out. It was fun.
Yeah, sorry if I got on a little late for you tonight, man.
You're good, dude. No, it's all good. I'm all for switching times if the guest needs it. That's just how I am. You won't hear me complain.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate you, dude. Thanks for coming on. It's good to catch up. Hopefully we'll get to catch up at, this game coming up.
Yeah, man. Totally. I would definitely let me know if you're going to make it to DC or if we can even meet at that Birmingham game because that'll be awesome.
Yes, sir. I really will. I promise. Because, trying to meet as many people as can when I get the opportunity.
Yeah, agree.
Guys at home, you got any comments or questions before we hop off the air? We're going to wrap it up. I'm trying to make the show shorter, Christian. Like, I know when we met before, we would talk and it would be maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I'm really trying to narrow this down to something else.
I think those are good though too, those longer ones, at least when you're meeting somebody for the first time, because it lets you, I like the first one we did because I think a lot of people got to learn me even a little bit more, which was cool.
Yeah. I think your interview actually opened the door to many other interviews when they saw that, hey, he's legitimate. He's not
That's
just,
awesome.
pulling it out of his butt. So, yeah,
that's really
dude.
good to hear. I appreciate hearing that.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. And I'm curious to see where your career goes and how successful you are and all this stuff.
Thank you, man. If you want to have me on again this year, bro, I would come on anytime you ask me to. So please ask.
We can make it happen, dude, for sure. Once we get around, give it a couple weeks. We'll get you on. This next week, we're going to try to really break down some games if we can and discuss it. I've got a few guys that are going to help out, and we'll always have a guest that's attending. So you're more than welcome, man. If there's any time you want to come on and you got something you want to stout, even if it's just a quick bit, just let me know. We'll make it happen.
Will do, man. I really appreciate you having me on today, man.
Thank you, Christian. I appreciate your time and your work you do in DC. Guys at home, check his stuff out. Let me roll it at the bottom real quick. I'll have it in the show notes like I did previous, where everybody can just kind of click it and go to it. Is there anywhere else you want people keeping up with you at?
Not right now. I plan on getting my YouTube channel going a bit, maybe starting something where I'm doing a podcast once a week or twice a week, just kind of let the fans know what's going on with the Defenders, because it is hard to find some news sometimes, and I think having that quick and easy access to a podcast can help them out. So, but besides Twitter and the website, I think that's pretty much it.
Sounds good, man. Had some comments I want to hit real quick. Mark Nelson said, just bring on the games and we can talk about that.
Great, man. I'm ready for that too.
XFL Mike G said, thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Jackie, she does the Horns Forward podcast. I don't know if you checked that out yet.
I have seen that yet.
What's up, Jackie? How you doing? And we got Brahma Bulletin. Great show. Hope to see Christian on again very soon.
Sir, you too, man. I actually watched this show as well with you. That was a good show.
Yeah. I'm enjoying all this, dude. It's cool to network and talk with everybody and just do our thing,
Yeah, man. I enjoy it too.
I appreciate you, Christian. Do quality work this season, man. I know you will. I'll be watching and keeping up for sure.
Yes, sir. Likewise, man. I look forward to seeing what you put out.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Christian, again. Have a good night.
Thank you, man. You too.
All right. We're going to wrap it up. Hey, guys at home, if you're still listening, I think we have a set of tickets that we're wanting to give away. Mike G, did you get the details on that? Was it a set? And is it specifically for the Arlington game? Mike G will comment in just a second. Yeah, I want to check it out. We had some extra tickets, but I don't want to state the details until I know for sure. But regardless, I'll let him comment back when he can. Guys, it's been a pleasure. If you're still listening, thank you. Good show. So we got Arlington and San Antonio. So we'll have a set of tickets for Arlington and San Antonio. If you're interested in these tickets, all you simply have to do is like and share the show tonight and then message Alternative Football Network on whatever platform you do that on, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Just share, like, message, and then I'll do a drawing and we'll give them out. Okay. We're going to try to have this done by Thursday. So guys or girls, start tonight, get this done, and I'll add you to the drawing and we'll get you some tickets if possible. I told you a lot of people are receiving emails for free tickets for being season ticket holders right now. So most of the people I know, they've given them away, but some great staff on the Alternative Football Network group want to give these tickets away. So let us know, guys. Like, share, send me a message, and then I'll add you to the drawing. And then I'll present it Thursday on Facebook and all the socials. We'll get it out everywhere. I'll contact you for sure if you win. I've done a few giveaways in the past, shirts, tickets, and the participation hasn't been great, but it's always cool to give stuff out. And the stuff that we do give out, like I've given people, they've loved it. So it's been a pleasure, seriously. I will be out of town this weekend, heading to Houston, and then the following weekend I'll be in Memphis. We're going to do the show on Tuesday night. I'll announce the guest closer to that time, of course. We're going to try to do some game breakdowns throughout this next show, and so we'll get that worked out for everybody. And personally, I don't want to be the guy that's doing all the information. I love hosting the show. I love facilitating the conversations, but we need some more people's opinions. We need some people talking. We need someone that's going to actually, lead a conversation. I can do that for the most part, but it's always good to have some fresh opinions and faces. So we'll see some different faces coming next week as well. William said, great show. Thanks, William. Appreciate you watching, man. But yeah, guys, check out the next show this next Tuesday, April 3rd, 7:30 p.m. Central. Going back to the 7:30 p.m. Central time. and I will announce that guest beforehand. Appreciate you watching. If you watch tonight, like I always say, like, share, comment. I mean, if you do interact or say you add us or do something, comment on stuff. I'll tell you what, if you share and just comment and like the pages, I mean, I will interact with you personally. Just make it known. I promise. Appreciate everyone greatly. It's always an honor. UFL 2024 begins Saturday. The time is here, guys. We're about to take off, so get ready. Any other comments before I roll out? All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. I am Matthew Tyler, and it's been a pleasure. Peace out.
Go hard, go home, go hard, go hard, go home, go hard, go hard, go home, go hard, go home. Touchdown like an end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard.